do, guys? It's Ashlinsky, and I'm playing another game in my itch.io today. Yeah, my collection on itch.io literally has like 100 games that I've found that I really am interested in. So this one is a short text adventure and or quiz about your merman boyfriend. It's literally called Your Merman Boyfriend. I thought it was a cute concept. So I guess you pick and choose things, and there are 3 different endings. I like the little disclaimer here. All merman boyfriends depicted are entirely fictitious, which may or may not be a good thing. So, this is made by Wally S. It doesn't say it was made for a game jam or anything, or a Ludlum Dare, so we're just gonna get right into playing it. This looks really cute, and I like the coloring. Kinda matches my shirt. You've been dating your merman boyfriend for some time. Quite some time now. In fact, it's been a year since he came to live with you. Today is that anniversary. Ooh, we clicked the heart. You think about your merman boyfriend as you idly stir a spoon through that morning's coffee. How he looks, how he acts, how it feels to have such a man all to yourself. His hair is usually the first thing that anyone might notice about him, given that he's usually submerged in enough water to make it float around him in a heavy cloud. Its color, however, is what stands out the most, as a beautiful golden blonde, shining silver, or pitch black. Okay, so I have to basically create a merman. When I think of mermaids, though, I think of, like, red hair, purple hair, like, strange colors, because I think of Disney. And I think of, like, Ariel and Ariel's family. So, I'm gonna go with silver. Silver sounds pretty. A shining silver, as luminescent as the moon hanging atop the night sky. It was the first thing you noticed about him when you met, you must admit. Not that you don't love the rest of him, too, but his hair is just really amazing. It's thin, long, and pin straight, but that just makes it hang down in foggy sheets when wet, which you happen to find very charming. You like to braid, but to do anything other than watch would be such a disservice to that glowing reef of hair, so it just hangs long and free as it floats through the water, a shooting star breaking through the dust. Oh, he sounds pretty. Human eyes could never shine through the water like his do. You're fairly certain that if you were ever lost at sea, you could navigate back to shore just from their glow, streaming on and on for miles. He's your very own personal lighthouse. If its beam was, well, what color is his eyes again? Icy light blue, vivid sparkling teal, a dark, intense red. I'm gonna go with red, because that's my favorite color. I don't think a mermaid or a merman would have dark, intense red eyes, but we're going with it. A dark, intense red. You love gazing into them, trying to comprehend how they can naturally hold that kind of pigment. Merfolk have a truly unique array of eye colors, much more varied than that of humans. His tend to stand out even more due to how large and wide set they are, which you've come to find attractive in its own right. All the better to see you with, right? But no one ever believes it when you mention how your merman boyfriend has red eyes. They always laugh, ask if you're dating a monster. What a rude question. Even if you were dating a monster, it would be none of their business. Is he going to turn around and eat me in the end of this? Or drown me? Oh. It's fascinating how different his lower body is from yours. You've traced the curve of his hips over and over again in your mind, and each time you feel the dull surprise of expecting one extra step on a staircase before you remember that they do not flow into a pair of legs. But his tail offers so much more than legs ever could, a display of scales curling into gracious waves and a fin like colored glass. And though this might be a little TMI, it's sensitive to touch in many of the places as a human body, so that's nice too. All in all, the best way to describe the Pisces half of your merman boyfriend would probably be very flexible with shifting colors, a beautiful high-maintenance Silurian or shimmery silver, wispy and long. I'm not going to go with silver because that was what I went with for his hair. High-maintenance Silurian. How about we go with the flexible colors? Yeah. Very flexible with shifting colors. The exact hue of his tail seems to change depending on either his mood or his environment. You're not sure which. You've asked if that's something he does consciously, but he's never given you a straight answer. Half the time, you think that the change in color must just be a trick of the light. Admittedly, it does make for a great surprise each time you see him. In function, the tail is not unlike a large third arm. It's unusual for merfolk to have such a level of movement like that, but he always has been able to reach what he easily wants. The fin doesn't allow him much dexterity, of course, but he can grab a book off the top shelf or wrap it around the food. And most importantly, he can use it to pull you closer. Aww. There is a freaking gnat in my office again! Ugh! While merfolk are visually recognizable as being humanoid, anywhere above the hips, the feel of their skin immediately sets them apart. It's rubbery and smooth to the touch, like running 2 fingers over a stingray's spine. Combined with their broad swimmer shoulders, muscled chests, and lack of body hair, the bodies of merfolk are much more unique than most people know. But even so, the upper half of your merman boyfriend's body skews even further from the norm due to his scars, sharp teeth, or wide hips. Let's go scars. Scars are sexy. His scars. They're not really noticeable unless someone has spent as much time with your merman boyfriend as you have, but certainly they're all across his body. Tiny wires hung between subdermal telephone poles. You've heard the stories behind some, but certainly not all. They seem to originate from sources both synthetic and organic. A few he's told you about with a smile on his face, and others while looking far off into space. You know that they don't hurt anymore, but the thought of him in pain always causes you a great amount of anxiety anyways. Luckily, he's been accommodating in letting you kiss them all better. There are thousands of underwater districts across the globe in which merfolk all live. Though words like country or state usually aren't used, it's more or less the same concept. Strict imaginary lines separate each district, each with their own set of policies, laws, and people. Not a lot of detailed information is available to humans about all these districts, thanks to the language barrier. There's practically a different dialect of MSL, Marine Sign Language, spoken in each one, but you try to pick up bits and pieces wherever you can. Being from any given district, of course, means many different things. A mix of expectations, cultural norms, and stereotypes, just as it does up here. You don't know much about your merman boyfriend's home district beyond the few stories he's told you, but you do know that it's located up north, deep in the ocean, or near a coastal town. Near a coastal town! Near a coast town a little ways away. Though he grew up underwater, your merman boyfriend has always had regular contact with humans in one way or another, from regular excursions onto shore. His English has always been accentless for as long as you've known him, and once you learned this bit of his past, it all made perfect sense. His first love was apparently a human in this town, although the relationship was quickly cut off by a near-drowning incident. You're not the type to get jealous of boyfriend's exes, but even so, it makes you wonder sometimes. Was that why he agreed so quickly to come live with you on land? Or was he really just that eager to make the change? The marks of youth never truly leave any of us, after all. It's a common misconception that merfolk forego clothes entirely, a poor age stereotype left over from days long past. While it's true that thick clothing will slow a swimmer, even long before they made contact with human accessories were entirely commonplace under the sea. You've come to learn that there is a beautiful history behind this tradition that has never been properly documented by the human world. Your merman boyfriend is no exception to this cultural heritage, but as someone whose primary residence is on land, he's of course affected by the trends up here more than he is by tradition. And it's not exactly easy to buy traditional marine jewelry up here. So when the time and money allow, you like to dress him up in silver chains, diamonds, intricate tattoos. I feel like it's probably tattoos. In my head, mer people probably have, like, symbols or markings on them. Intricate tattoos of a dark red, branded upon his back as if they've been there from birth. You yourself paint them on with waterproof ink, but often you don't even recognize whatever it is you've just created once you exit the strange meditative state that comprises these sessions. The strange designs that supposedly come from your hand fold infinitely in on themselves, glyphs of the unknown that you're sure mean something to someone somewhere, certainly to him. Any onlooker must think that your merman boyfriend is bleeding profusely considering the color, but what wounds would ever naturally run into such a pattern? Blood washes off too quickly underwater in any case. Merfolk obviously breathe air in addition to water. Spend time with one on land for more than about 5 minutes, however, and you'll see just how easily they can run out of breath. Their lungs are much weaker than the average human's thanks to centuries of very little use. Thanks to that factor and an obvious lack of non-fluid mobility, your merman boyfriend vastly prefers that the lower half of his body, if not the entire thing, be submerged in water at all times. So naturally, you had to make a few changes to your apartment when he first moved in, including a modified shower stall, hot tub, or aquarium tank. Go hot tub. Go big or go home. A modified hot tub. This sounds perhaps very opulent, and it is, but you are absolutely in the business of keeping your merman boyfriend very comfortable at all times. You wanted something in which he could easily recline but still have room to swim around. It's very, very big. So a hot tub in the living room seemed like the best solution. There's even a convertible glass top and water jets placed strategically so as to avoid his gills. There's such a thing as being overhydrated. Everything he might ever need is easily within arm or tail's length, which is very convenient since there's no easy way to climb out for someone with no legs. You've heard it said that having one's partner set as their phone's background is a modern equivalent of keeping their photo in a locket, which to you has been always very charming. Yours obviously features your merman boyfriend in high-definition glory. It's been a distraction more than once from whatever non-boyfriend activity you were just unlocking your phone to perform. You personally consider yourself the world's biggest fan of the photo that graces your background. It's quite possibly the best picture you've ever taken, and to think he didn't even see the camera at the time. Completely unposed, and yet he still looks like a model. A lot of your love has to do with what he's doing in the photo, since it's not every day you can capture such a perfect moment of him reclining rather sussily, staring out the window or mid-bite. Staring out the window. Let's go classic, I guess. A perfect moment of him staring out the window, his expression infinitely inscrutable. You've since asked him what was going through his head at the time, but the truth of your own personal Mona Lisa has been very much lost to the ages since he claims he doesn't remember. You've come up with a few theories about what he might have been thinking of, and they shift from day to day, but none of them really make any sense. There was nothing in particular to be seen through the window on that day, and you can easily tell from the photo that it was very overcast and dull outside. And even if it hadn't been, you don't think he finds much interest out there anymore. He doesn't often leave the apartment these days. But still, the intensity of his gaze really makes you wonder if there's something amazing outside that human eyes cannot see. As previously mentioned, today is the 1-year anniversary of the day that you and your merman boyfriend moved in together. Neither of you have enough of a head to pin down the exact date of your relationship officially began, but you both know what day it was that he first brought a suitcase here. It's written in the sublet agreement. But aside from that, it also marks a real commitment between the two of you. It wasn't a change taken at all lightly. He had to leave behind the world he'd grown up in for one filled with boundless air and dry land. Meanwhile, you had to spend the time and money required to make your apartment merman accessible. And it's not like you could get a job that he could get a job up here that wasn't right next to a body of water, so you had to start supporting him financially as well. But it just made much more sense for him to join you up here rather than you figure out how to get down there. Giving flowers to a loved one is a tradition below sea level as well. You'd never given it much thought, but apparently there's a great amount of beautiful plant life down there. Practices do vary from district to district, however. You've heard that some areas of the ocean have a practice of giving each other bouquets of fish fins. The mental image isn't exactly pretty, but if your merman boyfriend ever pulled one out on your anniversary, well, you'd think about it. In any case, you are an above-ground couple, so you've arranged to pick up a very nice bouquet of regular flowers on your way home from work. You're particularly proud of your own creativity in choosing one consisting of, I don't know what a pitcher plant is. I'm going to go with white flowers. Various white flowers. You took the time to do a little research on flower meanings and reached the obvious conclusion that the white ones are supposed to signify purity, like some kind of fallen angel. Your merman boyfriend is angelic in many senses of the word, so you understood right away that white was most appropriate choice. Making great use of your entire 10 minutes of flower language study, you've worked closely with the florist to come up with a beautiful arrangement of orchids, hyacinths, and calla lilies, and a single pink tulip just to remind him of a couple of things. The entire day has been a long, slow process of waiting with your evening plans. It's been quite a while since you were able to actually do something together as a couple, and you're really looking forward to finally getting the chance. Work has kept you late recently, leaving you with a little energy for anything beyond feeding him and going to bed. Your relationship has just started to lack just a bit of passion, if you do say so yourself. But not tonight, because tonight you two are having dinner together, shopping at an expensive store, or engaging in couples photography. Having dinner together, that's just the basic thing. Having dinner together. It sounds like a very mundane evening activity for an anniversary, and it kind of is, but food has always been a large part of your relationship. Staying in and spending some quality time together sounds so much more pleasant than going out somewhere that would require countless calls ahead to even verify that the building was wheelchair accessible. You've put yourself in charge of preparing everything, leaving the exact contents of the meal a surprise to your merman boyfriend to discover later tonight. Keeping the secret has involved a lot of discreet shopping, research, and deliberately misleading statements about what you have planned throughout the entire week. Lying to him is difficult, and you're sure at this point he must have his suspicions, but you hope that the end result will be worth it. It's a dinner of his favorite food, of course, and although it's not something you'd ever want to eat, this is a special occasion, so maybe you'll finally bite the bullet and give it a try. The things we do for love, right? As you leave work and draw closer to your apartment, each step strikes his name into your mind, seconds ticking by as you savor each letter over and over again. And though you see him every day, you suddenly feel as if this anniversary carries an immense weight to it, because something in the back of your mind tells you that the two of you are about to have a night that you might not ever forget, no matter how hard you try for years to come. It wants me to click here. Uh-oh. Your merman boyfriend has been bothered for an entire year by the apartment upstairs and how they always stomp around after hours, so tonight you've brought those 3 roommates down for dinner. He can usually only consume 1 entire human adult per meal, so you have to store all the leftovers somehow. We're eating the neighbors! Ah! Something told me this was going to take a turn. This time you even let him slip a few bloody pieces past your lips before you start to feel sick. Ah! Don't feed me it! Ah. Okay. You know that you love him, or at least you think you do. You're about 75% sure. If you didn't, you wouldn't do everything that he asked. You wouldn't go to such lengths to feed him. But still, some hazy part of you wonders at the very back of your mind. Do you love your merman boyfriend? You choose his meals, you bring them to your apartment, and tell them that there's someone inside they just have to meet. And there must be something about those piercing eyes, red eyes of him that betray his intentions to them. Because once they catch sight of them, they always try to run. Lord. But if and when they make any contact at all with his skin, the venom takes effect. After that, they are all quite willing to go limp and be eaten. You've asked him why that's never happened to you, since you've touched him countless times, but he just strokes your hair and tells you that he's never needed you to be any more compliant. You usually find that that explanation is believable. Even so, visions of missing people posters swirl through your mind at night, names and faces that you cannot forget. Each time you pass one in your neighborhood, you discreetly check the portrait, but it's never anyone you recognize. In fact, the only time anyone has ever come close to asking any questions was a call from your concerned landlord about the amount of blood mixed in with your trash. But after putting your merman boyfriend on the phone, it was like there was no problem at all. This is creepy. He has that kind of way with people. You remember the first time you fed him, right after he'd moved in. You were a mess of blood and tears. He rubbed your back and poured syrup into your ear, filling your head up with sweet, undeniable facts. He loves you, he needs you. It's no different than feeding a mice to a snake, isn't it? No one else could do what you do. No one else is devoted, and you love him, don't you? But the axe in your sweaty hand is telling you that no, you don't. Am I getting a bad ending? May you and your merman boyfriend be as happy as time allows. Ah, that was one of the 3 endings. I was really worried that that was going down a bad road, and it did. Great. Great. Okay. So there's 2 other endings. If you guys want to play this for yourself and see if you can get them, that's fantastic. I really like this. I'm starting. I said it in one of my other videos. I'm really enjoying like games like this where it's like text adventure and whatnot. And this one was really well written. I swear I can talk today. It really painted a picture of like what this human and merfolk society is like, and it especially painted what the merfolk side of things was like and how they integrate with humans and stuff. It didn't mention they eat people though. That would have been nice to know. But yeah, that was your merman boyfriend. I'm only mildly creeped out by it right now, but you know, as usual, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or drop a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I make new content every single day, and I guess sometimes I hack up humans to feed to a merman. But yeah, and I'll see you in the next one.